This video demonstrates the process of upgrading a GoAnywhere server from version 7.3 to 7.8.4. Before we start, it's important to note a few things. First and foremost, this is going to be a disruptive process. Please perform it during an approved change window. Before we start the actual upgrade process, though, there are a few steps we need to take. Let's start by removing any unneeded files from the workspace directory. Log into your GoAnywhere server. Navigate to your installation directory. And from there, navigate to User Data Workspace. The files in this directory are ephemeral, specifically the directories. These can be safely deleted before beginning an upgrade. Next, it's highly recommended that you take a backup of the virtual machine where GoAnywhere is running. And if you've externalized the database, you take a backup of that database. If you have not externalized the database, then you would want to take a backup. If you have not externalized the database, you should then take a backup of your existing Derby database by performing the following steps. Log into GoAnywhere. Navigate to System, Database Configuration. I recommend you both do a tuning and a backup before starting. So I'm going to start with tuning. And then after tuning, take a backup. It's important also to make sure you have enough disk space available on your system, as well as enough memory to perform the upgrade. So I have plenty of disk space, and I have plenty of free memory. The next step is to download the GoAnywhere upgrade file. Navigate to my.goanywhere.com and then log in. Select GoAnywhere Self-Hosted. Select the GoAnywhere product. And since this is a Linux upgrade, we're going to select the Linux operating system. On this page, we have installation files, documentation, upgrades, and release notes. It's important that you select upgrades and then upgrade the 713 to 784 jar file. You can also download the 784 upgrade guide, and I recommend you review that as well. Once you've downloaded that file, we want to relocate that file and place it into the GoAnywhere installation directory, upgrades, upgrader. Next, we need to rename this file, removing the version number. It's important also to make sure that the file has the appropriate user and group permissions. In this case, I'm using the GoAnywhere user, the GoAny permissions. These should be the same user and group that GoAnywhere is running as. There are a number of steps which we need to take before we can begin the actual upgrade. First, we need to ensure that if you have any integrations that are using the /GA services path, that you update them to use the /GoAnywhere path instead. If you use custom tasks that were created before version 7.2.0, you will need to rebuild those custom tasks using the newest custom task jar file after the upgrade is complete. Please also note that the user validation package has changed. You should see our upgrade documentation for details. After this upgrade, the default buffer size was increased to 512K. If you have concerns with memory usage and performance tuning, then you should evaluate the new global buffer size settings. If you use a Microsoft SQL Server database for the GoAnywhere backend database, then we need to modify that configuration before starting. Log into GoAnywhere, navigate to System, go to Database Configuration, edit your configuration, and update your JDBC URL to include encrypt equals false. In addition, if you're using integrated authentication with your database server, then you need to remove the current DLL from the system and replace it with an updated version. If I was using Microsoft SQL Server, I would see the auth.dll file in the JRE bin directory. If you see that file there, remove it, then download the updated driver from Microsoft, making sure to grab the 12.8.0.x84 version and place it in this directory. If you're using Microsoft SQL Server as a resource in a project, update that resource's JDBC connection string to include encryption equals false as well. The handling of the database connection pooling is more aggressive after the upgrade. Please make sure that your database can support the maximum amount of pooled connections. After this upgrade, when you import a secure form that was created before version 7.1.0, you will have to re-enter the password that was previously stored. If you deployed GoAnywhere in Docker, you will now be able to set the Java max memory variable, which determines the maximum amount of memory in megabytes allocated for the Java virtual machine. The default value is 1 gigabyte. Also, if you map internal Docker ports to privileged ports, in other words, ports below 1024, then you will need to adjust these ports to non-privileged ports. There are a few changes to how we manage monitors after the upgrade. First of all, we no longer support the use of parameters for the username and password. So you cannot put a variable like that as the username or the password. You should evaluate your existing monitors and make sure that none of them are using a parameter. Next, you should check each and every monitor that you have. Notate which ones are using variables. Notate the variable name and value for each monitor. You're going to need that information in a later step. We are now ready to start the GoAnywhere upgrade. Start by disabling all the engines on GoAnywhere. Go to System, Admin Server, and click Stop on each of these engines. Confirm. This will stop any new schedules, monitors, triggers, and service level agreements from firing, but will not kill any of those processes which are currently in flight. Next, we need to take a look at which monitors are active on our system. We're going to go to Workflows and Monitors, and we're going to notate which monitors are active. In this case, I only have one. After we've notated it, we want to deactivate it. Now we want to make sure that there's no active transfers or connections happening on our system. We're going to go to System, Active Sessions. I have my admin session, but no other sessions. Go to Active Transfers, and there are no active transfers. Navigate to Services and Service Manager. Notate which services are started. In this case, HTTPS and SFTP. Since I have no active sessions, I can go ahead and stop both services. If I had active sessions, I could decide, do I want to wait for them to complete, or do I just want to stop it and kill them in the middle? Now we need to log into the GoAnywhere command line. We have to make sure we're running as the GoAnywhere user. And we want to navigate to the GoAnywhere installation directory. From here, I want to stop GoAnywhere. The command is goanywhere.sh, stop. Once GoAnywhere is stopped, I can verify that it's stopped by checking to make sure that the Java process is no longer out there. I now want to switch to the Tomcat directory, logs directory, and I want to just move the Catalina.out file out of the way. I don't want to delete it. Finally, I can go back to my installation directory, and from here I can go to my upgrader, and I can run my upgrader.sh program. And this will perform the actual upgrade. This process may take anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours, depending the amount of data you have on your system. When it completes, it will tell you that it completes successfully. If it did not complete successfully, it'll give you an error, and there's a log that you can go to view what the error was. Since my deployment completed successfully, I'm going to go back to the installation directory, and I'm going to start GoAnywhere. Now it'll take a minute for GoAnywhere to start. Now that GoAnywhere has started, I can go back to my web UI and I can log back in. And when I log in, I can verify that I've seen the correct version by going to Help and About, and I should see version 7.8.4. We're almost done. We now have to go and restore what we did with the monitors. Let's go to Workflows, go to Monitors. We want to go into each monitor, click on Projects. We want to first change the project to some other project. So note what the project that you're using here is. I'm just going to click a different one, and then I'm going to change it back. And what that does is it'll force the variables to reload. Once the variables reloaded, compare them, both the names and the values, with what you had recorded before we began the upgrade process itself. Hit save. And for all the monitors that were enabled before, we want to click on the little gear and click activate. And that will restart that monitor. If you have any resources or projects that connect with a Derby database, you're going to need to update that resource to use a different driver. The new database for Derby is the Apache Derby JDBC client driver. So just select it and hit save. We need to now restart all the engines that were running before. So we're going to go to System, Admin Server, and the engines that were running before, we're just going to start them up. Now, in my case, all 4 were started, so I'm going to start each one up. And the last step is to go to your Services, Service Manager, and make sure that the services that were stopped before got restarted. That's it. You have successfully upgraded from version 7.1.3 to version 7.8.4.